On this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast, are you tired of that suck sandwich and hungry for something more?
Then join us in the Mega Coven. We'll even help protect you from that rascally deity. Let's do this.
Welcome to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. I'm Diana.
And I'm Liz.
And we're going to talk season 11, episode 3, The Bad Seed. What have you been up to?
You know, mainly staring into the sun, wanting to eat my hair. But, you know, living the dream. That is the summer of 2025. You know, it's July. We have somehow already, I know it's July because this is we were joking about your sister having a birthday week, but it is my birthday month. Because that's when advertisers start sending you coupons. So I have received a number of coupons from "It's your birthday. Come celebrate it by spending money at our store."
Yeah, it works too.
So beyond that, I've been trying to figure out how to relax still. That's not working out very well. You know, I can get sometimes I get like 30 minutes in, but fun. Everyone keeps saying things are about to get easier, but I don't know. We'll see. What about you on that bright note? What have you got to?
We celebrated Babe's birthday.
Happy birthday to our audio engineer, babe.
Yay. And then we started, and it was our anniversary, and we started celebrating my sister's birthday, as you mentioned. It's her birthday week, and went out to do that. And gearing up for 4th of July holiday stuff. That's about it. Got family in town and, you know, hobbling around on my stupid knees still, and gonna try to figure out what the heck to do about that.
Well, you know, that is drugs and a cane.
Yeah, I'm not ready to commit full time to a cane yet. I'm just not there.
It's just a good look. I mean, I think you just need to start thinking of it more of a fashion accessory and get more pimp canes.
I mean, that is an option. It's always on the table.
It's on the table. I mean, at least you do it for part-time, or especially for, I would say, shows where you're standing a long time, having that be part of your outfit. And then that way, you know, you relieve some of your pain, or you can get one of the super cool ones that grandmas use that have the chair on them. So then you can just flip that out in the middle of a cocktail party and be like, bitch, watch this. And then you have a place to sit or a place to put your drink.
No.
Falling.
No, absolutely not. But I appreciate the thought. We ready to talk about this episode full of excitement?
I think so. I mean, there isn't a ton of SPN news going on. It's summer, so there's cons have been happening and countdown. I think the first, how many episodes are out now?
I think one or two.
Three, 6. I don't know. I haven't watched them, and I will probably watch it. I don't know when I'll watch them. I'll watch them someday. It's also kind of weird, as we'll see later. Was digging through, you know, some archival footage of Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, and so sometimes watching them in current form while I'm still watching them in this 2015 form is kind of a mind fuck.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. So I also haven't had the mindset for that much action.
That's reasonable.
It's a lot of blowy up, and I'm not really in a blowy up mode right now.
Sometimes been pretty fluffy lately.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm stressed out, I really like to watch stuff blow up. So maybe that'll help. Maybe I'll try it as a relief. Yeah. Okay, so This one, though, this is The Bad Seed, and this was season 11, episode 3. It first aired October 21st, 2015, and was directed by Jensen Ackles.
Woohoo.
And so this was when he directs, they line it up so he shoots it this is the first thing they shoot of the season, so he has time to prepare and stuff. So even though this was episode 3, I believe this was shot first in sequence of the season. So it was written by the fabulous duo Brad Buckner and Eugenie Ross Lemming. And we started off with someone lighting a candle.
Who could it be? It's Rowena, and she is in this really killer red lace dress, and she is making her pitch to 3 witches to join her new coven. What coven is it?
The Mega Coven.
And they are very unimpressed. Super unimpressed.
It's grander than the Grand Coven. It's mega.
They do
I just don't think you're getting it. It's mega.
And they're like, no, you are a coward and we don't like you. Sorry, girl. And she's like, no, I killed the king of hell, who is my own son, and compelled an angel to do it. And one of them is like, that's weird, because I know someone that totally did a deal with Crowley like yesterday. So he's not dead. Surprise! So they think she's delusional and they turn to leave. So she does a spell and they burn up and explode into dust.
Yes, her spell, Vomike Puchaman Nex, aka Vomit, Putrefaction, and Death, also title of my next album, is a witch killing spell, apparently. So that's what the Latin does.
So we cut to Dean looking at the darkness cloud.
The big fart.
And then sees our darkness woman. And this is a flashback because he is totally fucking zoned out while Sam is talking to him at the bunker.
And sometimes that happens, right? And Sam's trying to get his attention, but he has to snap it out of it, right? And then Cass chimes in that if it is the darkness, then it's more of a time bomb, and then time bomb, suddenly time bomb, and then a baby.
All the songs. And no one saw anything unusual when baby Amara disappeared, is the other key that they have figured out. So Dean's like, well, this baby has to grow up, right? I mean, like, it's still a baby. And Kaz like, the darkness has infinite power. So,
well, then ask like the question, can infinite power grow up? Like, it's infinite, right? Can infinite be a toddler?
I don't know. And Sam references God. And I think this is an interesting point because he prayed to God in the last episode and kind of sort of he got his flashbacks to hell, which doesn't seem like a great sign, but that somehow kind of helped put him on the path to steer him towards the cure. So I wonder if he is specifically invoking God because of that. But anyways, he's like, well, God, kicked darkness's ass before, maybe they'll help again. And nobody believes that God's going to help.
Yep. And then Sam then tries to go, well, okay, maybe no God, but what about Metatron? And Dean doesn't want to hear it. And then Cass has cramps.
Yeah, it's unpleasant. Cass does not feel well. And they need Rowena to undo the spell because Cass is getting worse.
Yep, and they thought maybe it'd be better because he was an angel and he had the angel wiring. And again, like, why? Because we're going to go through, like, demon vessels, like, and meat suits getting, like, does that change the wiring of a demon? My head hurts. Stop messing with the cannon. Stop it. All right, so... Okay, so where were we? Cass, angel, hurt. All right, we go
hell.
Go to hell.
Go to hell. We go to hell, and a demon minion is informing Crowley that they have located Rowena. And we see now young child Amara sitting at a laptop with her headphones on. So she's in hell. on the computer. Well, having screen time, I guess.
Getting screen time and just basically catching up on the world. And I was thinking about this. Like, can you imagine being some sort of being that comes to like, or just even like a person that comes out, like how much information there is to consume?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably just like take those headphones off and be like, no, thank you. I'm gonna go back to my cave. So also like we have like her governess nanny who is dressed like a Victorian maid for some fucking reason.
Super weird. Well, we've got the other minion's been given the go ahead to go get Rowena, first of all. And then now we've got nanny minion that's like, oh, Amara's, doing really well in her studies. And she's like, they're talking about how, she's just got out of diapers and then the nanny's like, oh, where'd her name come from? And Crowley's like, that's what Jenna called her before she ate her soul. So, and apparently we find out what is Amara watching right now. And these are Hitler's Nuremberg speeches translated.
She's a fucking darkness. Can't she speak German? I'm pretty sure the German.
And there's a scene later on that will make that question come up again.
I'm just also like, if there is a darkness, the darkness speaks German.
That seems reasonable. I would assume that too.
Absolutely. So Crowley then wants her to take a break and then tells the child something you should never tell a child, that whatever she wants, she can have.
And she's like, just save me from him. And he's like, God? Yeah, he's been mean to my little girl. And she's like, yeah, he sealed me away. And Crowley asks how. And she does not want to talk about it.
What? And like, so he tries to trick her into being like, so just tell me how this God tricked you away. And then she's like, Uncle Crowley, which is gross. I don't like that she calls him Uncle Crowley. But I do like that he calls God a rascally deity. And that makes me think of God as Bugs Bunny. So
a rascally rabbit.
A rascally deity. So, so Amara goes back to Hitler. And then we go to a restaurant and a brunch. Everyone loves a brunch.
I mean, yeah, ladies' brunch. I mean, who doesn't love that? So we've got our Rowena with two different witches. And she's trying to recruit them away also to her mega coven. And at first they're super unimpressed and they're about to fucking walk. They're like, nah, no. And then she lets them know that she does have the Book of the Damned. And they're like, oh, are you going to share info? And also, by the way, we have not really had an opportunity to get promoted in the Grand Coven. So would you be open? And Rowena's like, hell yeah, I'll promote you. You can have all the info. Let's fucking do this.
Yeah, Rowena also has pointed out that all these years, she first basically burns them and says that all these witches have been cowards hiding in the shadows. And one of them points out, is like, well, we were being burned or hung by the thousands. Yeah. So we kind of didn't want to come out and say that we were witches. But Rowena's just like, that's poor leadership, which I also happen to agree with. At some point, fuck you, stop burning me. This is on you. So anyhow, but everybody wants to join the mega coven, right?
Right. And then a waiter turns into a demon and attacks them, which is
shockingly, yeah.
So
demons seem to be a lot of waiters.
That is interesting. There has been more than one demon.
There have been a lot of demon wait staff in this season.
Was it because the access? Is it the access and interaction you get to have with people, or is it a statement on waiters? No offense, waiters.
No, is it because they can finally get paid fair wages? I don't know. Why are there more demons becoming waiters? DM us. So anyhow,
or are the waiters becoming demons, or the demons becoming waiters?
Or more demons becoming? Are they taking on the job as waiters, or are just waiters turning into demons? I mean, after waiting on some of the the things that people have, like the post-COVID people in restaurants, like I can understand waiters turning into demons. So all right, so we're gonna get, of course, a demon witch knife fight, and the demon pulls out a knife, and the witch tries a very ineffectual spell.
Yeah, like it doesn't do anything, and she just gets like her throat slit and stabbed in the gut,
like immediately.
Like nothing happens.
Yeah.
Then one of the witches just like yeets the fuck out. She gone. I don't even know where she went. And then
smart, right? Like I see, get the fuck out of there. Smart.
But Rowena makes a dramatic exit with a spell that flails all the furniture around and then stacks it up behind her. It's actually kind of rad.
Yeah, it's an impediment spell. But it also leaves like this poor woman just like reading her book without a table, and probably like her drink is gone. And you know how hard it was probably for that woman to get out, just to get that one moment away from whatever her life is, to get this moment with her book and her drink, and then like the table's just fucking gone. That would be like,
it's more exciting. Might be more exciting. Who knows?
Now they took my cocktail.
Well, that's true. So
back in the bunker.
Cut back to the bunker, yeah. And Dean's trying to call Crowley unsuccessfully. Crowley is not answering Dean Winchester's phone calls.
Ooh, he's being ghosted.
Because he's hiding the fact that he has fucking Amara. Duh.
Well, is he really hiding that? I mean,
I think so.
I mean,
he said that he made a big deal how Amara's not supposed to talk to anybody and
that's
no
true.
Talk to her.
And like he got her in the van, so. But I also just think he's kind of ghosting Dean, and also Sam is correct that he's also a dick.
That too. So, they're trying to, Cass does not think that Rowena is going to be willing to help him. And Sam's like, by the way, here's what we need to do. We can find Metatron by searching for Castiel's car. Ta-da! And then they call his car crappy. And that made me sad.
And it made Cass sad too. And Cass was like, my car's not crappy.
Mm-mm. But there's been no signs of it, which everybody finds kind of shocking because they don't really think that Metatron could drive that car that well. So they're going to look for strange occurrences at places that Meta might hang out. So they got to figure out where the heck Metatron would hang out. But Cass's only contribution is that he likes waffles. And that's a super fun fact, except for the fact there's a lot of places in the U.S. that sell waffles.
Yep. And then he has a hallucination seizure. A hallucination?
I don't know. It's unpleasant to watch. And he says that it was like he was inside a blender that was set to puree for a tomato salsa.
And in this analogy, he's a tomato. Yep.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
And they're just not having a lot of sympathy for him and wanting to put himself back together, and they just put him up in his blanket. And then he's like, I'm also hearing voices. And they're like, what?
Wait, WTF? And apparently he's getting like blown up with Angel Radio because they're looking for Castiel, but since he escaped, and the perp, aka Metatron, which I really appreciate that Castiel explains to Sam and Dean what a perp is. And then apparently, things are just not good with the way things are in heaven right now. Yeah.
Right. And so they need to get their asses in gear, because if they want to find Metatron, they have all these angels looking. So it's a race. It's a race to find Booker. So then Sam finds a news story about 3 women in Denver where, oh my gosh, the waiter stabbed and killed one, and a third vanished, and the furniture went everywhere.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And then they had to have paranormal investigations there for the next 5 years.
So we cut back to hell, and Amara is clicking through a slideshow of natural disasters, and gets up and looks in the mirror. And while she's looking in the mirror, we get a cloud of smoke in her reflection and our grown-up darkness woman there.
Do you think like that, like she farts that in?
Does she need some gas X? Do they have that?
That's just like how the cloud comes up. She's like, excuse me. And then like a little soul just comes out, and it comes out a little cloud of gas. And that's how big of no.
Why do the souls look a lot like this cloud of darkness? Ooh.
But because they're demon souls. Like if they're human souls or angel souls, they're white. And if they're demon souls, they're cocksmoke color.
which is the color of the darkness cloud. Anyways,
Yeah, fair.
So weird. Anyway, so now we've got this weird reflection thing going on, and the woman comments to the little girl that she's obviously confused and troubled, and the child is like, God did all this after locking me away, like what God did this to the world, basically. And she's like, yeah, for his own ego, so we must stay fixed on our purpose. We can't undo it, but our true destiny will be clear. I am what you are becoming. That's what she says, which is an interesting word. It's just interesting phrasing, I thought. But anyway, so we got the grown-up version of her talking to the child version of her, and it's very like meta confusing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, just if you are looking in the mirror and you see a version of yourself that's slightly different aged and talking to you,
you might be hallucinating.
Something's wrong. Like you may want to talk to somebody. That's just not how mirrors work.
Didn't that happen to Bella in Twilight? But it was an older version it was an old lady version of her, and then she had to eat
her baby.
She woke up from a dream, and that was the different book. But yes,
well, it all just ends with her husband eating her baby or her stomach, whatever.
Didn't eat the baby. He ate the baby.
Ate her stomach.
Yeah.
Which is seven layers. I was listening to the history of the C-section. And they were talking about how many layers they have to get through to get to like your uterus. And that's what Edward had to do. Just jump. Okay. So moving on. I don't know how we always get back to eating stomachs, but where were we? So Amara was looking at herself in a mirror, and then Crowley interrupted. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so it all goes away, and she pops back over to her desk and pretends to be flipping back through her slideshow. And then we have oh gosh, where am I lost my spot. The bar. Oh, they're at this bar, and this is a weird scene, and I kind of don't get it, but it's kind of interesting. I think this is just laying groundwork, and you can tell me because I don't know. I'm assuming it is. We go to this bar, and this guy walks in, and another man like stands up and like stares him down, and that guy's a demon, gives him demon eyes. And then the other guy that just walked in, he's like flashes his angel blade, and they're both like the demon sits back down, and they sit together and have a drink together, and basically they're comparing the status in heaven versus hell right now.
You just opened up this opportunity for me to tell you that this is where the angels and the demons start to unionize, and they realize that only they can take down the system of oppression that God has been put in place for so long, where they have to answer to these masters, and they say no gods, no masters, and they just have anarchy. Hooray. No. This is where Supernatural is going. It is all a Seneca. It's all an anarchist analogy.
But you can't do unions and anarchy at the same time.
Sure you can. You know the O and the anarchist symbols for order? Anyhow, all right. So we can have this discussion later. Yes, you can definitely have unions and have anarchy at the same time. All right. So they rise up. They toast being expendable. And they just do, they do make some sense. They're like, look, is this going to knock us out of business? And they're like, but if anything was going on, of course upper management would tell us. Like, corporate upper management always tells the people who works for them what's going to happen. So power to the people, but not actual people, just demons and angels.
Right.
The scene, there's I don't really know if there's purpose for the scene, but I like it. So
they share that since Hannah died. Yeah. Since Hannah died, heaven's been a suck sandwich.
I also like the phrase of suck sandwich.
Yep. So Sam and Dean go to the police station to talk to the witch that got away from brunch. And Dean's like, yeah, sure. The waiter smelled like sulfur. It attacked, and then some lady yelled in Latin, and the furniture flew around. So Sam's like, yeah, any idea why a demon would attack 3 witches? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm going to play dumb.
Which I think is the right way to go, right? And she's just like, no, sir. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Was it me?
And Dean's like, fun fact, we know because this was an assassin sent by Crowley for Rowena. And we are definitely not in the FBI.
Yeah. So they're like name dropping, and then she's still like, what? I'm not a witch.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I gotta run. And then she's like, I've got rights.
And then Dean gets real creepy because he goes, I have a fake badge. And he winks. And I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
I don't, there's so many things about this that I hate. Like, just, you know, the fact there's a fake federal agent interrogating somebody in there while a woman's complaining about her rights. And then he winks. Yeah, there's a lot about that I don't like. But also I hate the fact that he looks so adorable while he winks. And I would just be like, okay. Damn you, Jensen Ackles, and your adorable winking.
Sam managed to get her purse and has found her hex bag and chicken bones inside, as well as a pentagram medallion, because that's what they really needed to seal the fact that she's a witch. That's real random.
Yeah, okay. Also, she's got a chicken bone. Like, girl, put that in a Ziploc.
That just smells so bad, right?
Yeah, it's gotta smell you. But she's got gnats. Like, everyone just got fucking gnats. And it just, so if you've got a pentagram in your purse and those things, that doesn't make you a witch. Sometimes people just have those things in their bags, Mr. Winchester.
That's a stretch, but okay.
It's not like, hey, I don't have raccoon bones in my bag right now. But like the other day, I had raccoon bones in there. Doesn't mean I'm a witch.
And a hex bag, and you were spotted with a known witch.
That is all circumstantial.
So she tries to do a spell, but Dean's like...
also, Dean takes her compact out of her purse and then just hands it to her. No, sir. Get your fucking hands out of her makeup. That's just rude.
Well, she says she can't do a locator spell without her crystals, and they're at her house. And he's like, well, here, you got this. And that's it uses the mirror, because he knows you can use a mirror.
Well, he tries to define to her what scrying is, and he defines scrying as a locating spell. When you witches use crystals and then prisms and mirrors to divine images of who you're trying to find. And that's a locator spell. That's not scrying. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
So then Dean also just throws in the, like, you're just going to die, because if Crowley will go after you if we get Rowena.
So we show back in hell, Crowley is buying gifts for Amara, and there is a pink dress covered in blood splatter and a children's book called Uncle Hoppity. However, she's pretty unimpressed because she's already grown beyond the age of these gifts and is currently playing Scrabble and apparently is reading Dante's Inferno in the original Italian.
No, and Crowley wants to know what else the nanny has been teaching her, and then he shits on the Big Bang and on Taylor Swift.
Yes. And Mara would do things differently. And so Crowley asks if there's anything specific to look forward to, but she just replies to say that she's hungry. And so our nanny sets out this beautiful tray of delicious looking pastries.
Yes, it's, I do love actually just like a tray of like snacks and just variety. It just makes me feel comforted. Like I know I've got choices.
Yeah. And so Amara's, though, not feeling this tray. She grabs the nanny's face and decides to suck the black smoke soul from her, unwilling. And she collapses on the ground. And so Amara says, I killed her. And Crowley clarifies, not quite. She was already dead. Her soul was kind of keeping her alive. Ish. Which isn't really alive, so it's very confusing. I don't really understand it. But Amara said, well, not anymore. Thank you.
Which was kind of funny, though.
Yeah. So we see Rowena in kind of an alley in a lovely blonde wig. She wears it so quite well.
Blonde looks great on her.
And she is getting bags ready to load to a taxi to the airport.
And it's not a cab driver. It's Dean in a Hawaiian shirt.
And he almost gets to her, but she flings him against the wall, pins him.
She gives him the finger.
And says, you're welcome for removing the mark. And then Dean handcuffs her.
Sam handcuffs her. And then they take her away.
Yeah. So we cut back to the bunker where Cass has gotten on the computer and is attempting to use that laptop to search for his car. so that he can help them locate Metatron.
He's got a whole list of instructions and he's trying to follow them. And I guess Sam has written out, like, which I just enjoy, like the idea of Sam writing out his flowchart of this is how you hack the DMV. But he just is hallucinating and is Cass. And so he just ends up at an Asian fetish site.
Yes. Called Fortune Nookie. And he watches a bunch of the promo and then he starts having more flashbacks again.
Hallucinabacks.
Wow. So back in hell, Crowley is watching Amara eat another soul and verifies with one of his demons that these are all dead meat suits, because we have seen, I guess, living meat suits in hell before.
No. So what he says is he wants to clarify that they're serving dead meat suits in the cafeteria. So I think what they're saying is they're taking the dead meat suits after Amara kills them and they're serving them in the cafeteria. And that way they can make sure there's no zombies that are walking around. I think that's what he meant.
I thought he was making a joke about the ones they were serving to her. Like
no, I think he meant like he was serving, they're serving the meat suits that she was eating. Like after the demons got sucked out, then they had a dead meat suit, and then he was serving them to people.
Because I thought the nanny wouldn't come back, but they didn't want to be like Jenna, where she walks around soulless and creepy.
Right. So they fed the nanny to people in hell to eat them.
Oh, I just thought she wouldn't come back because she was dead, double dead. But yeah. So apparently Amara wants dessert now because she just cannot she's insatiable apparently. And so Crowley wants to talk to her first, and she's like, yeah, that's, I don't really want to talk. She says talking about how God did this isn't really what she wants to do. And when she takes a soul, she feels how the emptiness in it in this world. And God made a world where people suffer, then die. And why would they want to live in that world?
Which I do wonder are like the demon souls, are they more empty?
Probably.
Like, is she like eating like a bunch of depressed snacks? Like, so, if you're eating like a bunch of like sad food, you're just going to stay fat. But if you eat like happier food or happier people, would she be less empty? I don't know.
No. I'm sure the souls in hell versus the souls on earth versus other souls would taste different. I don't know.
I assume they taste smokier.
Probably. In hell?
Yeah. Probably a little rancid.
They look it.
Yeah. So, and then like Crowley is like, well, what if we did like this world where everything was pure evil?
And he's all excited. And would you like that? And she's like, would you really like it if everyone was evil? Like, she calls out, this is stupid. And he's like, well, you're actually right. If everyone was already dark, that would not make anything very much of a challenge. And, and the real fun is watching humans embrace depravity. And it is so much fun to watch people embrace their depravity. Woo! Mm-hmm. So, but Amara is really she is an infinite being. She is like heaven, hell, good, evil. It's just all so unimportant. Yeah. She just doesn't really see the big picture. And guess what? She's hungry. So, and a demon gets brought in for her.
I mean, this is hell. Like, why does they have to? I feel like you would, like, going after your staff, I feel like is ineffective, right? Just bring in other people that are being tortured.
I don't know. It seems like a weird choice.
It does.
So
if I ran hell.
Well, Rowena is chained up in the file room dungeon at the bunker, and Sam is going through all of her bags looking for the Book of the Damned, but all he can find is the Codex. And she's like, yeah, I don't run around with both of them together, duh. So Sam's like, fine, I'm going to take the Codex, and I've got Charlie's code breaker, so meh. And she's like, okay, I love your plucky, stupid optimism. That's cute. But, Dean tells Sam to go get Castiel. So while he's doing that, Rowena is reiterating their agreement that she is going to dispel the angel and then she is going to go free. Dean's like, yeah, plus we want the book. And she's like, no, that wasn't part of the deal. And he's like, no, that's the deal now because I said it is. Meh.
she's just so about the deal, right? Like, I feel like she obsesses over deals and like whether or not somebody honors them. Like, it's just back off the deals a little bit, Rowena.
Well, that kind of like is interesting is that tie into Crowley's characteristics when as being a crossroads demon and being all set on deals and how he loves the fine print.
Oh.
But anyway, so Rowena's like, whatever, what are you gonna do? If you call Crowley and then he kills me, you got nothing. So whatever. You don't even know what new hell you've unleashed on the world with me removing that mark. And right then, Sam rushes in because he cannot find Cass. Castiel has broken free and left.
Which she thinks is hilarious. I also think that she's kind of questioning Dean about, like, she doesn't even know, like, what's happening. She's like, what did we do? Like, I skipped over that part. Like, what's going on? But, oh, haha, there's a rogue Castiel running around.
So, yeah, Castiel's running around in an alley looking like shit.
And it has been far too long since we were in an abandoned warehouse district, and I'm just really glad that we're going back to our root thespian. I think it took Jensen, at the helm, and he was, this is where I feel comfortable. I really feel at home directing in this warehouse.
Yeah. So we've got Rowena in the backseat of Baby, and Sam and Dean are triangulating Castiel's cell phone signal to locate him.
They're not good at that.
And she does not understand what the fuck any of that means, but she can do it faster with magic.
And she's backseat bitching. And Sam is just like, no, to do that, like, you'd have to take off your handcuffs, and we're not going to uncuff you.
Yeah, so Crowley has a brand new nanny who was the former minion earlier in this episode. And he insists that he's making him wear the apron and says that Amara responds to him. But, and yes, don't worry about it. She just looks at everybody like she wants to eat them. It's fine.
Some things just look at you like they want to eat your face.
And since you failed to assassinate Rowena, this is your job now. So Crowley's walking around signing deals on his clipboard. And he tells the new nanny that he needs to stop overfeeding Amara and get a handle on her strength, and her loyalty. Because you don't want to have entitled pudgy kids.
Yeah. And it's going to be the nanny's job to tell her that they're cutting back for her health. And he can do this, or he can roast on a spit for eternity.
Mm-hmm. So
I choose a spit, honestly.
Both sound unpleasant.
Both sound unpleasant, but of the two, I think you're more likely to survive the spit.
Probably. So Sam, Dean, and Rowena in Baby, Rowena is sharing how upset that she is for making another deal with the Winchesters. She made the deal with Sam before to kill Crowley for removing the mark, and oopsie, Dean didn't know that. Ha ha ha, that's weird. And if Crowley had died, then, Castiel wouldn't have been, by Sam's hand like he was supposed to, Castiel would never have been cursed. At this point, Sam locates Castiel stopped in the map. So we see a woman walking on this alley. Castiel sneaks up behind her, real creepy, and she screams and runs. While Sam and Dean are making a plan, they separate to go locate Cass. And this chick runs into a warehouse and locks the door behind herself and hides in there. And Castiel is tracking her.
Yeah, and so while they were in there, they were talking about all this stuff, and Dean was talking about how, I got thrown off here in my notes. So while they were talking about what was the point of all of this, Dean says it wasn't a point, but his keyword is secrets. And secrets is our keyword. I was just trying to figure out a way to get us into our quiz, which is at this point in our show. So because Jensen Ackles directed this, I thought we would have some fun and do some kind of, what would Jensen Ackles think? And what would Jared Padalecki think? And so for this, what we're going to do is we're going to go back, or I went back through some of the panels and at various cons, and I am going to ask you a question that an audience member asked at this panel, and then you're going to guess what you thought either Jared or Jensen were going to say, and you'll get it as we're going along. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our first one is from 2024 Chicago, and this question Jensen thought was funny because he had never heard it before and thought it was funny that nobody had asked it. So, you are lovingly referred to as Moose and Squirrel. If you had to identify the other cast members as animals, what would they be? So, they got asked to be a little specific. So, the first person they asked was Misha. So, what animal do you think that Jared or Jensen would think that Misha would be?
Dog?
Ferret.
Oh.
Yeah. And both of them agreed with that. Yeah. So then they asked for Mark, and I'm assuming Mark Shepard.
Cat.
So Jared said gerbil. Jared said gerbil. Then Jensen said sloth. And then Jared told his interrupting sloth joke, which is quite hilarious. The next character, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Bear.
Honey badger.
Adjacent. That's adjacent. That's a small bear, kind of ish.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a loud bear. The bear, Wolverine. I don't know. So next question. So if you woke up one morning and the entire show had been recast, what other character would you want to play, and who would you want to play, Dean or Sam? So for the first half, because there's people ask these questions and there's many parts. So if the show had been recast, who would Jensen want to play instead of Dean?
Either Crowley or the Trickster.
So he said, I think this is really funny. Well, at this point, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, John, would obviously be appropriate for me. Jeff was younger than I am now. When he started the show, which I thought that was really funny. Then Jared said that he did play Lucifer, but he also thought it would be fun to actually play the other Lucifer. And then, so for the second part, he said he wanted Chris Hemsworth to play Sam, and Jensen's like, he's too old. And that's when you start realizing that none of them have any idea about young actors, and I really don't either. So then Jensen suggests Timothée Chalamet, and Jared said he's got great hair. Harry Styles would be great. And I'm like, still too old, right?
Yeah.
And then he got kind of modern, said Chappell Roan would make a great Dean. Then Jensen's was like, okay, recasting the show now. And then the girl was like, whenever you want. Then Jensen said something which I thought was hilarious. And he was like, no. That's too many options. I need you to be specific. I tell Daniil this all the time. It's too many options. I need you to tell me exactly what you want. And then so she's like, okay, as of today. So as of today, script one, the pilot episode, who would be a good Dean? And then he's like, well, he'd be a good Sam. Drake.
No.
Yeah. And Jared's like, yeah, he'd be a good Sam. But then Jensen closes that out with a thing, the only way he could do is, and he says, nobody can do Dean like I do. And then Jared threw up in his mouth.
That's tracks.
Yeah. So a girl, this one's still not a quiz. So this is the same con. A girl named Lynx, who works with exotic animals, came up and asked them, she does not work with lynxes though, mainly reptiles and amphibians, asked them if they had any funny pet stories. And she said she had an American toad. And Jared said, I had an American toad, believe it or not. They wanted to breed him, but they couldn't because he had reptile dysfunction. Yeah, which is kind of funny, but also sad because they're amphibians. All right, so at the 2025 Oklahoma City J2 main panels, this just happened recently. If you were Disney characters, who would you be and why? So who would Jensen Ackles be as a Disney character?
I mean, isn't Daredevil a Disney movie now? Or
I think they mean like animated.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, or
Like
Deadpool.
Disney Princess.
Deadpool. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what I was meant to say with Deadpool, not Daredevil. I was like, can it just be Deadpool? That seems like that would fit. Like animated ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. I'll say that Jensen would be Aladdin.
He said Flynn Rider from Tangled.
Okay.
Which apparently has this whole thing about it. Like there's this whole like controversy about it, and there's all these sideshows and things. But now I kind of want to see all these shows about Flynn Rider. And Jensen asked the person who asked the question who they would pick, and she said that he would always be my pick for live action Tangled Flynn Rider. And then Jensen said, "Suck it, Zach Levi," which is fine. He does the voice for Flynn Rider. All right, so during that panel, they were also asked, what is the most weirdest or least valuable skill you had to learn for a role? Jared's answers, Latin, how to draw sigils, how to make a salt circle, and then like goes through this whole thing talking about how they learned like how much salt was actually in a box as they were like trying to shoot a scene and like not running out of salt big enough to like make a circle. Yeah. Yep. And then Jensen said, throwing ourselves or holding ourselves against a wall while being invisibly choked by a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jared said also learning that they could get stuck to the wall and that like their heads could move, like their whole bodies didn't have to be frozen. Like he said it took a while to learn that. And that was fun. Huh. All right. So moving on to your next question. 2023, Charlotte, the J2 main panel. This con also had a hashtag, a spatula con, and I think people might have been taping spatulas to their hands based on some side chatter I heard during some of these panels, but I never saw a picture. So if you tape the spatula to your hand, will you let me know why? So this question's really funny and really bad. If you were forced, so this is Jensen and Jared, would you rather have the other's face for a butt or butt for a face?
Oh, man. Butt for face.
Yeah. So Jared said Jensen's butt grows better facial hair than his face. And at this time, Jensen had a pronounced mustache on top of his scruff, and Jared had Walker scruff beard. And so then Jared said, so yeah, I'm going his butt for a face. You could always shave something to make it look kind of funny. And then Jensen said, I got a face butt. And then there was a lot of confusion. And then Jensen said, I guess I would rather have his face for a butt so I can cover it up with a pair of pants. Then Jared said, better be some see-through pants. Otherwise, you'd be wasting this damn fine ass. To which Jensen said, I already have a damn fine ass. And then prove it, prove it, prove it. Then the last question. When picking a spatula, what is your preference? Wood, metal, plastic, or rubber, and why? Again, it's spatula con.
Plastic.
Yeah. So Jared, who I don't think cooks, says, you got to go wood. You can control the grip a little better. And then he described making an omelet using an app on his phone. And then Jensen said, you don't use wood because you destroy it in the dishwasher. Also, I don't think they make wooden spatulas. But so you don't use wood because you destroy it in the dishwasher, which, why did they create washing machines? You don't want to go metal either because that will scratch up your pans. You want to go hard plastic. That's what you want. They're dishwasher safe and not going to mess up your pans. Boom. Knowledge.
Correct.
Yeah. I also just, there's no such thing as a wooden spatula.
There's not. There's wooden spoons.
Wooden spoons.
There's wooden like stirring thingies, like flat spoons, but they're not.
Yeah, but I'm glad they don't use metal on pans like monsters.
Yeah, you don't do that.
They would have to supernaturally be killed.
They would. They would.
If
the Teflon didn't kill them first. No, just kidding. Yeah, people do it all the time.
That's what the real hunters would do. So, and that is where we ended, because at that point I could not watch any more Q&A panels without destroying myself and the internet.
Yeah.
So back to where
the
we
alley.
were.
We're in the alley. We're in the alley where Sam and Rowena went one way. Dean went the other. Castiel is chaotically chasing this chick into a building where she locks herself in, and he beats the door open to get to her. And Dean's being a creeper to some chick walking by. Like, what the fuck? This, like, women can't walk in this neighborhood, apparently.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then, and then he hears a noise. So he hears Castiel rage hunting this woman. And Castiel starts choking her. Luckily, Dean finds her just in time and tells Castiel to let her go. So she runs away.
And again, no aftercare for this girl whatsoever. There is just some poor traumatized woman who got randomly choked in an alleyway. Probably went to the cops and they were like, so a guy in a trench coat choked you? And they're like, meh.
Cool story. Yeah. We'll let you know if we find him.
Way to go, Winchesters. Once again.
So she's gone, though. Castiel's eyes are very red. He looks very unwell. And he attacks Dean.
I wonder if, like, they did that to, like that just seems so uncomfortable. Like, they were really, really bloodshot. I know it's makeup, but it looks like it's so uncomfortable.
Very. And then Rowena is there and says one word, and Castiel just stops. I should say that she, like, I didn't really write it down here. Castiel beat the fuck out of Dean. Like, beat the fucking shit out of him. So Rowena is there with Sam holding a gun to her head.
Which I just don't like. It's
pretty wild.
It's very violent-y. I don't know. I don't like the violence in the Supernatural show. But so he's got
and apparently it's full of witch-killing bullets. So he wants her to finish the spell to save or unspell Cass, who is now convulsing on the floor. So Castiel shakes him awake, and he's looking better. Rowena continues the spell, and then she says something else, and the gun flies out of Sam's hand. Sam gets flung, and she closes the gate, like this, like a wall gate, security gate, like drops down between them.
And she also does that really quickly, right? Yeah. And so it's like 1 second, like, they kind of, like, Sam has, which I'm always like, you never have the upper hand on Rowena, Sam. Like, you always think you do. He's like, I've got a gun to your head. And then she's like, you ain't got no fucking gun, motherfucker. Poof. And, like, she just flung that gun away. Like,
well, she cured Cass, flung the gun, and dropped the gate. It was like, boom, boom, boom.
Way better than the witch of the restaurant.
It was. Way better. Way more impressive. And
that's why you should join the Mega Coven.
Sure. But she basically says, like, I didn't think y'all would honor your deal. Deuces.
And why would she? Right? Like, she's like, I'm not stupid. Bye.
Right. So we go back to the bunker. And Castiel really did beat the shit out of Dean. But so Dean's icing his face and drinking beer courtesy of Sam. And Cass really wants to apologize a lot. And Dean's like, no, you're under spell. It's fine. And Sam's like, yeah, but we also got the codex, guys. This is kind of okay. And they wonder where the darkness is now and what she's going to want.
Where is she? What does she want? The darkness. It's like a perfume commercial.
It is. And Castiel really wants to heal Dean, and Dean will not let him.
I would just be like, man, it's uncomfortable looking at your face. Will you just let me fix this? Because I don't want to see this anymore.
Well, down in hell, Crowley's walking down the hallway, reading a decree, and finds the new Manny is dead.
He did not make it.
He did not make it.
Should have taken the spit roast.
And we see Amara is now a full-on young teenager looking girl, and she is hungry.
She's got all those hormones, or she just had a growth spurt. She's probably going through puberty. Like, yeah, she needs some fucking food now.
And that's our episode.
Yeah. So before we talk about the hungry darkness coming to you next at McDonald's, I don't know. Do we have some
gross? I don't want that value meal. We've got some of our witches and a couple other folks we'll mention.
casting couch. It's the casting couch. Were they on that show that time with that guy? La 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 la.
We got Claudette as one of our witches, played by Courtney Richter. She's been in episodes of Bates Motel and Altered Carbon. Our teenage Amara, who we just finished this episode with, is played by Yasmin Ball. She's been in episodes of Travelers, The Good Doctor, and a series of unfortunate events, as well as Riverdale and Superman and Lois. Magda is the witch that got killed. She is played by Chantal Bouivet.
That's the witch name is like Chantal Yvette.
Bouivet. Yeah, and so she's been in episodes of Zoo and The Flash. Our minion turned Manny is Sergio Osuna, who's been in episodes of Arrow, iZombie, and Van Helsing, and he was Rafe in The Magicians, a regular character. And then our earlier nanny was Tazia Tellis, been in episodes of Witches of East End, iZombie, Prison Break, Travelers, and Legacies. And she was Nat in the TV show Shoresy for over a dozen episodes. And our bar demon was played by Adam Hertig. He's actually does a lot of casting work and then has been in a buttload of Hallmark Christmas movies. And was the head waiter in the movie A Violent Night.
You know, as much as we shit on them, like it's gotta be a good gig, right? Like,
fuck yeah, it is. Like, think about like the consistent acting work that some of these people get, and you know, I mean, I don't know, I'm entertained. I watch them. I
just don't know how many hours working. I'm like, tell me what it's like in the Hallmark factory,
right? Oh, I know. I bet that feels like it's Hallmark factory.
It's
like, bring in the next cast.
I bet it's evil.
Oh no, it's Christmas.
Like,
it can't be as holiday.
I know, but it's
joyful.
meta, right? Like it's like the Hallmark movie inside the Hallmark movie, where like the executive has to learn like the Christmas spirit, like over and over again. Like it's a snow globe. And sorry,
you're gonna write a new Christmas, an anti-Hallmark Christmas movie.
No, this is new. It's just a new Hallmark Christmas movie coming soon. The Hallmark Christmas movie about the Hallmark Christmas movie.
I would like full on like find like the best one, like the good ones. There are some really good ones out there and some interesting cast ones, and like throw that on freaking streaming while I'm doing my holiday baking every year. I'm ready.
I know, but we haven't even gotten Halloween yet, so
I know.
Back off.
I'm not really ready.
Back off with your holiday.
No, I haven't gotten a pool time in yet. It's okay. I'm still, I'm a summer girl. It's fine.
Oh,
I'm the weirdo.
How's it July? Anyways, were there more? Was that the last one?
Nope, that's it.
So, so episode 3. So again, like Jensen. So you can kind of feel I can feel the Jensen directing it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of attitude to it. I can kind of see that. I think the interesting thing about this episode is I don't think there's not like a lot of major catalyst events in it. Like you kind of alluded to this when we talked earlier, and that it's kind of just the whole episode just really feels like a driver of the overall story as opposed to having its own story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Or just
yes, they cure cast, but like,
yeah, the inner story, the inner arc of the arc of the episode didn't have a lot of dramatic, you're right. We had a fight scene. It's still, maybe it's just because I've seen Dean and Cass fight a lot now.
Yeah. It's just, we get the Rowena storyline where we find out, okay, she's trying to form her own coven. We find
Mega Coven! We do get the Mega Coven.
And she cures Cass. But we're getting just like the ongoing storyline of how they can't find Metatron. We're getting the ongoing story about how Amara's growing up and no one really knows what that's about. But now she's eaten a lot of souls and not just one. We've got the ongoing story about they still don't know what darkness really wants, and I don't know, I think
there wasn't a monster of the week, right?
Correct.
So, it's not
uncommon anymore.
It's not uncommon for the show, but it's sometimes it happens, right? Yeah.
It just felt like this was driving the overarching season story as opposed to an individual story.
Makes sense, yeah, but not a bummer.
No, it wasn't a bummer. There was some really good dialogue and attitude between, I think, Sam and Dean in addressing their weirdness.
Nobody hid their feelings.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't think the key word was secrets. So Dean did learn about the secrets that Sam was keeping.
Yes.
About the whole Rowena thing.
The deal with Rowena. So now he knows that there was a deal with Rowena and that Cass knew about it.
Yeah, and so that he was betrayed by this, but I don't really feel like he's holding a grudge. He's just like, why? Like, why didn't you just come out and why didn't you just say everything, Sam? Why weren't you just like, by the way?
Yeah, he just kind of like, he seems more just like, damn it, Sam, as opposed to like, why? You know.
Well, at this point, wouldn't you just be like, damn it, Sam?
Well, for real, the way they both lie to each other is like, so yeah.
Anyways, but we love them. We love our Winchesters.
Of course.
But just like any brother relationship. Yeah. All right. On that nice, sexy, groaning note, I think I'll end it.
You're welcome.
Cheers, Jerk.
Cheers, Pitch.
Devil's Trap Podcast is a Don't Be a Dick production. Meow.
Devil's Trap Podcast is part of the Ship It Studios Podcast Network. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Devil's Trap Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at Devil's Trap Podcast, Twitter at Devil's Trap Pod, or you can email us at devilstrap@devilstrappodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave reviews, and share with all your friends. We're at all your favorite podcast outlets and at devilstrappodcast.com. I'm Babe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.